Did you know that according to World Health Organizational report, every year nearly about 1.25 million Nigerian women risk their lives undergoing unsafe abortion? Imagine a woman in the prime of her life facing a difficult choice that could alter her future forever. In Nigeria, this is not just a personal decision, it is a legal one. Is abortion a crime? Is it a moral wrong? Or is it a woman's right? Join King's Advocate as we break down everything the law says as well as the realities that are faced by Nigerian women across the nation. Hello, I'm Kingsley and you're welcome to King's Advocate Network, where we break down the law to the understanding of all and see how it connects and imparts our lives in the society. In today's video, we are exploring the complex and the controversial issue of abortion in Nigeria. And at the end of this video, I'm going to tell you the shocking stand of Islamic religion as well as that of Christianity, especially the Catholic Church, as regards to abortion. I encourage you to stick to this video because we are going to learn a lot. What does the law say? Let's see what the law says. Abortion is a very popular ongoing phenomenon in our society, which the both and the young are aware of it. In fact, the first survey and research carried out in Nigeria as at 1998 reveals that each year, Nigerian women and girls approximately carries out about 610,000 abortions, which is at the rate of 25 abortions in every 1,000 women and girls between the reproductive age of 15 or 44 years. So let's break this down. This means that in every 1,000 set of women or girls, the possibility of getting 25% among them who have committed an abortion either twice or single in their lifetime is about 100%. Do you get that figure? Let's not forget, this very research was carried out in 1998. That is 26 years ago. So if this research was to carry out now in this year, it means that the result is going to wow all of us. However, we are not here for statistics. We are here for the legal framework that surrounds abortion. Let's see what the law says. The two basic laws prohibiting offense in Nigeria as far as Federal Republic of Nigeria is concerned made abortion a crime. These two laws are the Criminal Code, which operates in the southern part of the country, and the Penal Code, operates in the northern part of the Nigeria. Let's start with the first one, which is applicable in the southern part of Nigeria. That is the southwest, the Yoruba land, the southeast, the Igbo land, and the south-south, which covers the Niger Delta region. Under the Criminal Code Act, Section 229 of the Criminal Code states that any woman who with the intent to procure her own miscarriage, whether she is or is not with a child, unlawfully administer to herself any poison or other noxious things, or uses any force of any kind, or uses any other means whatsoever, or permit any such thing or means to be administered or used on her, is guilty of felony and is liable of imprisonment for 7 good years. A clear interpretation of this whole English and grammar we just read is that any woman who tries to terminate or abort a child on her own womb is guilty of felony and is liable for punishment for 7 good years. What is felony? Felony is just a typical criminal offense that is punishable beyond 1 year. In some jurisdiction, it is even punishable by death. It depends on the offense. So felony basically has to do with any offense that is punishable above 1 year, and it could even be death, it could be anything. That is what felony means. So to basically put flesh to the interpretation of this section 229 of the Criminal Code, you don't have to be pregnant for this law to apply to you. Whether you are pregnant or you are attempting to be pregnant, this law automatically applies, because section 229, according to the phrase used there, it says that whether she is or is not with a child, means that the law applies whether she is actually pregnant or not pregnant. So if you attempt to administer to yourself anything that is capable of terminating a child God has given you in your womb, whether you are pregnant or you are not pregnant, with that initial intent of taking the life of a baby, you are guilty of felony. What does this mean? This means that sometimes a girl could be anticipating pregnancy, or a girl would have entered where you don't supposed to go, and she is then afraid that something else could have transpired on her own womb, and then she tried to take a proactive measure or a proactive effort to take the life of that child. if the law catch you, you are guilty of felony. Whether you are pregnant, whether you are not pregnant, whether you are attempting pregnant or you are not attempting pregnant, the law doesn't care. You are guilty of felony. This is because the law criminalizes the attempt itself, not just the action. So the purpose of the law in this case is not just to save the life of the child, but to save the citizens who will even be attempting abortion in the first place. Because if the argument was to save only the child, it could mean that very law only applies to you when the doctor have examined you and ascertained that you are actually pregnant and you are trying to terminate a child. But no, whether you are anticipating pregnancy and you are taking a proactive step to abort that very child, the law still applies. Because the intentions of the law here, in every rule there is intention behind it. That is what they say, mischief in rule. Meaning that every rule has to do with a particular purpose. Every rule, behind every legislation lies a rule. So the rules there, or the purpose of this very law, is to protect the life of the child and also that of the mother. So if you attempt to take a child or to take the life of a child on your own womb, and invariably you are not pregnant, the law still applies and you are still guilty of felony. 1 year's imprisonment. There is no doubt about it. The good thing about this criminal offense prohibiting abortion is that it extends to any other person that has interest or has intention of taking the life of a child on the womb. It extends to the medical doctors, it extends to the medical nurse, it extends to the likes of Babi Ijabu, Mami Ijabu, Tati Ijabu, Sisti Ijabu, or any other person, including the native doctor who might have facilitated this act of abortion through his kind gesture of herbal powder or herbal drinks. This law applies to all. So, in fact, let's hear it directly from the criminal code. We go to section 228. You know, we just read section 229. Now, let us go and see what section 228 says concerning any other person or any other party who might have facilitated the act of abortion. Because the law is not just on a woman, the law covers any person that has intention to participate in that very act, whether deliberately aware or through his own lackadaisical attitude, that the act of negligence, we call it in law, has facilitated such an act. The person is also guilty. Let's see from the criminal code and hear what the law says about it. Section 228 says, and I quote, any person who with the intent to procure a miscarriage of a woman, whether she is or is not with a child, unlawfully administer to her or cause her to take any poison or other noxious things, or uses force of any kind, the emphasis is on that word force, or uses any other means whatever, is guilty of felony and is liable to imprisonment for 14 years. So we see that the position of the law is clear. The law does not only criminalize abortion on the part of a woman with 7 years imprisonment, but it also extends to anybody who might facilitate such an act. And not only that, a very important thing we have to consider is, what about the situation whereby the abortion was conducted without the consent of the woman? Probably the girl was not happy about it, or it was even imposed. The force could be coming from the boyfriend, who is not yet ready to be a man. Obi was still a boy, but he was capable of doing the other way around. And now pregnancy has ensued. And then he forces the girl to have an abortion. What does the law say? But what about a situation whereby there has been the existence of a legal valid marriage between two individuals? That is the husband and the wife. In this case, the husband is not comfortable again to answer a father to another chi boy, probably because of the economy. He then forces his own wife to take an abortion. What does the law say concerning this? Because the law is there for the good of all in the society, and the law doesn't discriminate. The law is impartial. That's why we have the scale of justice, because the law weighs side by side under the balance of probability and as well as the standard of proof, and we take action. So in a situation whereby there is a force anywhere, section 228 is an umbrella provision in criminal code that covers any person who might facilitate the act of abortion. It could either be directly, like the medical doctor, which might directly procure a miscarriage to a woman in what is known in law as abortion. It could be from the nurse, who might also facilitate on her own way through her own services. It could be from the native doctor, who through the help of Amadoha and his native spirit has concocted a particular powder or drinks to give to the woman so that the woman will have a miscarriage, and what is popularly known as abortion. But miscarriage is what the law says it is. If there is any act like that, the law will take its effect, and the person guilty of such a crime is 14 years. So the gap now is that why the woman can successfully back 7 years imprisonment, because of course it's her own body, she owns her own body, but whereby there is a force coming from the boyfriend, coming from the girlfriend, coming from whatever, any person that might force anybody to have an abortion, the law will also applies to that person. Sadly enough, for any boyfriend or any husband who forces her own wife or her own wife to be to have an abortion, his own punishment is even greater than that of a woman. It's 14 years imprisonment, because in this scenario, you are forcing the woman to do what is against her own wish. And don't forget that Chapter 4 of 1999 Constitution is a ground that has provided all the rights we have. And one of the rights there is right to freedom of expression, right to freedom of association, right to freedom of privacy, right to be free from discrimination, right to be free from forced labor, servitude. So if you as a boyfriend, you force your girlfriend to have abortion simply because you were obese and you are now not ready to be a man, the law will apply to you. If you as a husband, you force your wife to have an abortion simply because you are not ready to father another boy, the law will also apply to you. And in this case, it's 14 years imprisonment. So why the woman can successfully back 7 years imprisonment, you that is a boyfriend, or you that a girlfriend, or nady, or in-law, or nadi, that have supported this act through your own vocal attitude, or through your own forced labor, or through your own compulsion, through your own advocacy, you are guilty of a felony, and your punishment is 14 years imprisonment. So that's what the law says. Now we proceed to see another very important thing. What about the penal code? Because we say that this criminal code applies to those in southern part of the country. So this very criminal code we talked about applies to those in the southern part of the country. Yes, those in the northern part of the country enjoys the provisions of the penal code. For the sake of the time of this video, because this video will have to be as short as possible so that this message will get across to all and sundry in our society, I shall briefly summarize what the penal code says, because all of them have similar provisions, though they are in different part of the law, but their provisions are similar. Now let us consider what the penal code says. Section 233 of the penal code says that whoever causes a miscarriage or abortion in a woman or a girl, or cause the death of such a woman intentionally, is liable of 14 years imprisonment and also liable to fine. So, Section 234 went ahead to say that whoever uses force to any woman and thereby unintentionally cause her to miscarry shall be punished for 3 years with fine. Paragraph B of that same section 234 says that if the offender knew she has a child in her womb, he shall be punished with imprisonment for a term which might extend to 5 years, or with fine, or both. So we see now that the provisions of the penal code and that of the criminal code all criminalizes abortion in Nigeria. So you are not free as a lady to have an abortion. Neither is a man free to force himself on a woman in order to have abortion. So it is either you go in for the child or you leave the child to be in that very womb. That is what the law says. But there is one important thing I want us to consider here. In all this very section, all of them dealt with abortion. Though they criminalize abortion, there is something that is missing here. Ordinarily in law, whenever there is an intentional killing of a person, it amounts to murder, and the punishment for murder is death. So now, at least 70% of us, I will not say 100% of us, but 70% of us could attest or say that abortion amounts to killing. But in this case, killing of a child. But the question now is, according to section 319 of the criminal code, anybody who commits an offense of killing another person is guilty of murder, and the punishment of murder by virtue of section 319 of the criminal code applicable in southern part of Nigeria is death. So the question now is, if all of us agrees that abortion is killing, why then did the law not see it as a murder? Why is it that the punishment imposed is not death penalty? Because in law, whenever you have killed another person and you have successfully been convicted, you will face death penalty automatically. It's not by corruption, it's not by rigging. Once you have been convicted, there is nothing you can do about it. You are facing your life imprisonment. You are facing your death penalty. But in this case, there is something going on. There is something fishy here. Let's find out that thing that is fishy. Because killing a child, in our average view, 70% agree that it amounts to killing a normal person. Then why is it that the law didn't impose capital punishment? And that will lead us to another side of this video, which are the schools of thought on abortion. the various divergent view on abortion. There are two schools of thought on abortion, and that is the ongoing war in the worldwide. There is ongoing war on whether we should legalize abortion worldwide or whether we should restrict abortion. That is the war going on now. So there are two schools of thought. When we say school of thought, I don't want you to get confused here. It's just simple. It just simply means that there are two sides. There are two opposing sides. Those who stand for pro-choice school and those who stand for pro-life school. Let me explain. There are two sides now, or two sides of argument going on worldwide now, whether abortion should be legalized or not legalized. Then I'm trying to explain the stand of these various people and their arguments. Those who stand on pro-life majorly are the church, the Christianity, and somehow some part. In fact, Muslims also stand on it. We shall also delve into the Muslim stand on this matter. But for the meantime, those who stand for the pro-life are the Christianity and basically the Catholic Church. So for the purpose of this video, we shall use the Catholic Church because over the years they have developed a strong doctrine, becoming the early church alongside with the Anglican Church, Church of England, Anglican Church. Now they have developed a very strong cardinal principle that governs their stand has always been that abortion is not only just a moral wrong but should be criminalized. They stand for the pro-life. Then when you talk about pro-choice are like human activists. Though I'm not part of them, though I try to be activist, but I'm not part of them. I'm still neutral. I'm not even this side. I'm just at the center for the meantime. Until the end of the video, I'm going to show my own side of the argument. Those who stand on the pro-choice, that is the choice. Pro-choice simply means they are advocating for the law to give them the right to make their own choices. Choice here means whether the baby should be or not to be. It's my tummy, it's not your tummy. I have the right to determine whatever stays there. Just like I have the right to take whatever I want to eat. If I want to take tea, I will take tea. If I want to take bread, I will take bread. If I don't want, I will stay. If I want to do fasting, I will have my way. Then what is the difference between you telling me whether to keep my child or not to keep my child? They basically base their argument on the right that is guaranteed in all the constitutions of the world. For instance, under Nigerian Constitution 1999 as amended, section 37 grants right to privacy life. So the argument is that my right of privacy is being violated when you criminalize this abortion. So those who stand on the pro-choice side are of the view that the Constitution has granted everybody their rights, and because everybody has right to do whatever they wish, they say that their womb is not anybody's womb. Their womb is their own womb, and they have the right to determine the life of a child there, whether the child should stay or not to stay. That is the argument of the woman on the side of pro-choice, or those men who also advocate for pro-choice. Then the Catholic Church on the other hand, or the Christianity in general, not just Catholic Church. The argument of the church is that life of any child or baby begins immediately at conception. And if this is the case, the church contends that killing as at that stage is equivalent to murder of a defenseless child in the womb, which is a crime against God and also against humanity.
Vescovo e popolo, questo cammino della Chiesa di Roma, che è quella che presiede.
The history of Catholic Church opposition to abortion could be dated back to 1588, when Pope Sixtus issued an edict that forbids all abortion in 1591. Basically, the position of the Christianity, especially that of the Orthodox Church, has been that life begins immediately after conception. And because life begins immediately after conception, a child in that womb is considered as a person. If that child is considered as a person, killing that person is nothing different from murder. The law agrees with the Christianity, the law agrees with the church and natural justice on that ground. But there is area the law disagrees with the church. The law didn't agree totally with the church. The law says that the positions of the law is in this case, and that will answer that very question, whether why is it that killing a child in the womb doesn't amount to murder. This very thing I'm going to say is going to answer that question. So the position of the church now is that life begins immediately after conception. Yes, that is true in the part of biology and also in the part of religious perspective. But the position of the law is that the law doesn't regard that child in the womb as a person. The law criminalizes abortion. In this case, is Nigeria. We are basically talking about Nigeria because there is ongoing war in the world. In fact, if you want to see the position of America on this, go to my channel. You are going to see the position, and that position is going to wow you because America and other world is moving ahead of us. here. There is dramatic ongoing battle whether abortion should be a crime. In fact, the world is moving in another dimension. And now I'm still talking about this very Nigerian law and how it has to do with. Let's get it right here. The law agrees with the church. The law agrees with cardinal principle of morality that the life of a child in the womb deserves to be protected. Nigerian law agrees with that. Majorly African laws and tradition agrees to that. But the law disagrees with the Catholic Church. The law disagrees with the Christianity on the fact that a child who is still in womb should be regarded as a person. How you see that the law disagrees because of the provisions of this criminal code and penal code. The law doesn't expressly, in as much as the law tries to prohibit abortion, it didn't expressly give personality to a child on the womb. Had it been that was the case, the punishment should have been murder as provided in section 319 of the criminal code will also apply here. It means that if you have an abortion, your punishment should be death, no longer imprisonment for 14 or 7 years. The logic now, but at this point I want to hear from you. What do you think is the position of your own church? It doesn't matter the church you are going to. I want to hear your own thoughts on this very matter. Do you think that the position of the church by saying that a woman doesn't have right to have an abortion, by saying that a woman doesn't have right to treat the baby on her own womb the way she like, do you think, what is your own line of thought on this? What is your position? And what did your own church say about it? If you are an ATR man, that is African traditional religion, tell me what your own Amadioha says about this matter. Did Amadioha permit killing? Did Amadioha permit abortion? Do you think that abortion should be crime? Apart from even religious perspective, do you think that the position of Nigerian law who deny woman access to abortion is the right thing? Do you think the law is good, or do you think that the law should totally even permit women to have abortion? Because a lot of women are advocating, saying that my right to do anything I like is infringed upon. You cannot tell me to have my own baby. When I visited my boyfriend, you weren't with me. When I got married, you weren't with me. When everything that considered that led to the manufacturing, what did I just say? When everything that happened that led to the coming into world of that very child, you weren't part of it. Then what right do you have to tell me how to treat that child on my womb? In fact, the child has not even proceeded to the world. It's still under my tummy. It's just like telling me when to go to toilet and when not to go to toilet. These are their own point of argument. So what is your position on this? Do you think that those who advocate and say that their right of privacy as guaranteed by section 37 and also right to freedom of association, because in this case now the doctor life is at stake, the doctor freedom is at stake, because if the doctor is convicted, the doctor is also guilty. So in this case, everybody is now restricted. Some people can even argue that it's against the right to be free. Freedom of association, freedom of expression, freedom of discrimination. They could link it to any right. And when you go to African Charter as well as the Universal Declaration of Human Rights, because the America and the developed world is taking another dimension now. So I encourage you to go to my playlist and you are going to check my video. You are going to see a video that is dedicated, that talks about American position and what the world, how the 60 country has liberalized abortion, and also the recent position of America on this very issue. The essence of this video is because a lot is going on now. A lot is going on on whether abortion should be legalized. Although this criminal code is still there, but the possibility of taking down this criminal code is now almost 99% ready. This criminal code that bans abortion, the advocacy going on now could turn things around and liberalize abortion in Nigeria. Is this a welcome development for you, or should we keep maintaining the morality? And do you think also that the position of the church regarding somebody in the womb is correct? I want to hear your own thoughts in that comment section. You can educate all of us. Yes, educate me. I'm just a child. Yes, I'm a child. Educate me on this very matter so I will learn from you. Then I will not do justice to this matter without providing another defense that one can raise when charged with abortion. In every law, there is definitely an exception. For the fact that abortion is totally criminalized by the criminal code and penal code respectively does not mean that someone cannot acquire abortion legally. Yes, there are legal means you can have an abortion. And the doctor is also to some extent permitted to conduct an abortion on particular exceptional circumstances. To do justice to this, we go back to that very criminal code, because criminal code is not me. Whatever I'm saying is not from me, it's from the law. Let's go and see what the law says about this particular matter. Then we move to section 297 of the criminal code. Section 297 of criminal code says that a party is not criminally responsible for performing in good faith with a reasonable care and a skilled surgical operation upon any person for his benefit, or upon an unborn child for the preservation of the mother's life, if the performance of the operation is reasonable, having regard to the patient's state at the time and in all circumstances of the case. One notable thing or take away from this very law is there are some words that are highlighting, which I want you to know. It's not just enough for you to say that, well, I was doing it in good faith, because this thing simply permits everybody. It permits, it legalizes, it some extent give people access to abortion only in exceptional circumstances. And I want to point out these very exceptional circumstances upon which the woman could be exonerated and the doctor exonerated and any other person, but basically the doctor, because the word used here was carefully constructed. Surgical operation, a native doctor cannot be dealing with surgical equipment. Yes, a baby jabu man or woman or tata cannot be dealing with surgical equipment. So by that very word here, you will see that it basically applies to medical doctor and probably medical nurse. So in law, words count. If you see how the lawyers and will be battling in the court over a particular word, you will be like, is there any other thing going on in this court section? It will just be the word. Probably a single word that is giving the lawyer and the judge trouble. So the word used here is constructed carefully, because it is a very technical word that anything, you cannot just stand on that provision to say that I was doing it for the purpose of saving the life. That is to say now that abortion is guaranteed, but to some extent. Now let us consider the elements on this provision of section 297 of the criminal code. What we know in law as imparimaterial. So section 297 of criminal code is imparimaterial with section 232 of the penal code. So all of them is giving leverage on some condition that can be followed in order to have a valid legal abortion or miscarriage under the law. Going by the section 297 and 232 of the criminal code and penal code respectively, these key points are notable. Number one is good faith. So good faith here simply means that the law only permits abortion when it is done for the purpose of saving mother's life, and that must be in extreme circumstances. Moreover, the burden of proof lies on that person that is saying that it was done in good faith. So good faith here means that you are permitted to have an abortion when the life of the mother is at stake. Life of the mother being at stake here does not mean that just simply because the mother is having headache, you can conduct operation and abortion. Or simply because the mother is having diarrhea, you go and commit abortion. You go and conduct abortion on her. No, it must be in extreme circumstances when the mother's life is at stake, probably during child delivery or during immediately after conception, and the child is like, the woman is at the verge of death and life. That is the only time Nigerian law permit abortion. Any other thing, you are on your own. Or you are just doing it on your own, and the law will take its course on you. Now, the question now is, why is there still abortion in our country if all this law still varies? And I started by also telling you that about 610,000 abortion is conducted by women, meaning that out of thousands of women, there is high possibility of getting 25% of them who have successfully had abortion in their life. It could be to one, it could be to one. There are those who might even have 10 in a day. I don't know how possible this one is, so I'm not a medical man. So I'm just saying, there is still abortion because in the realm of criminal law, it is the state that prosecutes. Basically, more often, it is the state that prosecutes. The power of prosecution in the field of criminal law is constitutionally vested on the Attorney General. By virtue of Section 174 of the 1999 Constitution, it is the Attorney General of Federation that has right to prosecute criminal offense. Also, by virtue of Section 211 of the Constitution of Federal Republic of Nigeria 1999, the state has power to prosecute through their own various Attorney General. So the police, so it now becomes the state prosecute, the police prosecute, and the law does not take its course. The law does not fight for itself. Before the law could take action, there will be a reasonable cause for an action. That is to say, Because there is abortion doesn't mean that even if I'm a judge and I'm seeing you have abortion, that does not mean that I can just come and carry you and go to court and convict you. No, it doesn't work like that. Due process has to be followed. First of all, before I can institute an action, do I have the right to institute an action? Do I have that is what we call in law, the locus standi. The locus standi means the right for the cause of an action. So it's just saying that I am a busybody, I see you having abortion, I will take you to the court. What right do I have here? Abortion is a crime against the state. Because it's a crime against the state, it is the state that prosecutes. It's not just offense against yourself because it's a criminal offense. All criminal offense, the difference between civil offense and criminal offense is that civil offense is a crime between is a squabble or a problem between individual, not offense. It's a wrong. It could be civil wrong against individual. It could be thought against the individual, but criminal offense is against the state, against the nation. So it's not only to yourself. You have an abortion, you have taken the life of a child who probably could save us from this fuel crisis we are suffering from. You could have taken the life of a child who might make our country look better. So it's a crime against me in person. It's a crime against me because that person could change my life. That is what the law is saying. But even though the private individuals cannot prosecute, the private individual can still report to the police and the police will take the matter. The private individual can still report to the Attorney General. For instance, if there is abortion that happened, maybe my wife had an abortion and I'm not comfortable with it, I wasn't aware, they didn't inform me, I will report to the police and police will take it up from there. I'm trying to tell you that though the laws are there, it is somebody that will activate the law. The law are there, the framework are there, and in any society that work well, it is individual that activate the law. The law doesn't take itself. The law doesn't just engineer itself, but it is the society that activate that law. As you have seen it, we have known that abortion is a crime, and we have known that the law prohibits abortion. But there is one thing you have to know now, which is very important. There is ongoing battle on whether abortion should be legalized worldwide. In fact, United States have taken the bold step to legalize abortion. And there is also serious struggle. So if you wish to know more on what is going on, although the United States has legalized abortion, there is also ongoing step worldwide, which Nigeria is part of. So that's why I encourage you watching this very video to subscribe to this channel, because there is more coming your way. The only way the YouTube can recommend this video to you is when you have subscribed to it. So I encourage you to do so, because more video like this will be coming your way. More educating content like this will be coming your way. The purpose for law in our society is for all of us to know the law and know. There is no way you will know your rights without knowing the law. Irrespective of how the nation is falling apart, there are still ways you can benefit from having the knowledge of the law at your teeth. The way you speak to the police will matter the way they will address you. If you address the police in a way that you know your right, the police will give way for you. So I encourage you to subscribe to this channel, because I'm going to give you knowledge that could make you compete with a lawyer without necessarily becoming a one. So the knowledge of law is for all.
This note, I thank you specially for joining King's Advocate on this very video. It is a channel that is dedicated towards breaking and uncovering everything that concerns the law, as well as how we shape the society. We are in a society where our rights are being trampled upon, and it is a channel that is dedicated towards creating awareness and building a society that all of us and our future generation will be proud of. Thank you, and may God bless you as you continue to join this channel. As I hope to see you in my next video. Thank you, and